Okay, let us start the class. In today's class, in Python, we will try to understand difference between class variables and instance variables, local variables. Okay, difference between class, comma, instance, comma, local variables in Python. Okay. Difference between class, instance, local, and global variables. And global variables in Python. Okay. So first of all, we will try to understand global variable. So comment. Global variable means if a variable declared outside of a function called global variable. Okay. If a variable declared outside of a function is called global variable. So first of all, try see 5. It is a integer value. Okay. If I want to print this value, if I compile this one, if I run this one, so first of all, it is to be stored untitled. It is untitled file. So I need to store with the file name practice. Okay. Today is 16 November 23. Okay. Practice 16 November 23. So now your file is equal to practice 16 November 23.py. .py means .py is equal to Python extension file. Okay. Now clears the screen. Okay, you compile this one. Nothing we are getting here. Okay, because you have put a value that is integer value, but nothing means no any error is here. One more time, if you want to access this one, nothing is here means clear screen, nothing we are getting here. So if I want to get this value on screen, first of all, I need to call print statement. Print. Now call this value. Okay, you will get the file on the screen. So but 5 is where it is stored. So now if you want to store it permanently, so how can you store? By creating a variable. Take a variable x. X is a variable. Now assign that x with the 5 value. Now if you call, okay, you will get only 5 because you have passed the value. But if you want to get this, suppose it is 7, if you want to get this value, okay, now you need to call x. Okay, because x holds a value, x is a variable, stores integer type of value that is stored in computer's memory. Now you will get the 7. Okay. So if you want to see where it is stored, it is in a memory location. It is in a memory location. That memory location, if you want to print bracket id, id is one more function, pass x as a variable. So print is inbuilt function to see the output on the screen monitor. id is the input function which will give the location where this integer value stored, memory address. It will give the memory address. Okay, see here. So this is the value that is stored in this memory location. Okay, now first of all, I told you that global variable. So now one x is declared. assigned with a value. Now, global variable, now this total code, if it is part of a function, if it is part of a function, function will be created with the def keyword, name, okay, display, name of this function, okay. After function colon, that is very compulsory. Every function will be declared with the keyword, def keyword, and then function name. Function must be terminate with the suffixed with. Suffixed means next after. Suffixed with bracket. Prefixed means just before. So after that method must be suffixed with the brackets and semicolon. Now function is created. Why it is giving error? Because these statements, once function is created, so these line of statements, whatever line of statement, instruction, okay, these must be part of this function. Okay, so we need to give, to make them this line of instruction part of this function, we need to give somewhat margin, that is called indentation. Margin one tab. Okay, because now if we want to manually adjust, so 4 spaces, 4 space. Now these instructions 3, this is called one block of code, not BLACK block, BLOCK block of code. So now under a function, one block of code. Block of code means some lines of instruction, 5 lines, 10 lines, 3 lines, even the 1 line. That is called one block of code. So that block of code must follow some indentation, that is margin, 4 spaces tab. Now what happened? Now this X declared inside of the function is called local variable. Local variable. Okay. I have written here na local variable. Okay. So now because this variable declared inside of a function, so that's why it is called local variable. So now how can I access this X? Okay. Okay. I have declared, I want to get the printout now, but whether it is executed, nothing will be executed. See, nothing will be, you are not getting anything here. TLS. Before that, you are getting this output, because that moment this X is declared, but that was not part of your function. Okay, then you, whenever you have requested to get the printout, so you have gotten this 7 output. After that, this memory location where 7 is stored in X variable. Okay, but now you will not get anything. Clear screen. Clear screen. Now you try to, nothing. Never close. Syntax error. Syntax error where print X. ID function X. Okay. Why it is giving error? One more bracket we need to terminate. So now you will get now nothing you are getting here. Okay. Clear screen. You compile this one, nothing you are getting, because now these statements, line of instructions, otherwise a block of code, part of this function. Until you will not call this function, you can't get this output. So how to call this function? Simply function name with parenthesis brackets. Okay. Now see, you are getting this output. So now you can say, now function is called. Function is called. So whenever you call this function, whatever the line of code, block of code kept under function, that will be executed. Okay. Now you can call it as a local variable. Local variable. Okay. Now, if you want to, if you declare outside of a function, okay, say X is equal to 8. Now this variable which is declared outside of a function, that is called global variable. Global variable. Global variable. Variable means nothing but variable. Vary. Time to time. That variable means time to time its value changes. Varies. Time to time its value changes. Okay. As per the programmer storing the values. Variable. Okay. Variable. Okay, now this x is equal to 8, it is declared outside of the function. Now it's called global variable. So this global variable can be used everywhere. Outside of the function, inside of the function. Inside of the function. See, this is declared outside of the function and same with the same name of the variable x declared with another value. Now it is local variable. So if I am calling print x, whenever I am calling this function, so that moment which local variable will be, because this is same x I have declared with the same variable name as a outside of the function as a global variable. Here it is local variable. Whenever I want to print, I want to get print out. So which variable will be called? Only the local variable, because this statement kept inside of the function. So this value will be taken. Let us see. Okay. So only I'm getting 7. Okay. But because you are calling the function print statement that is inside of the display function, so you are calling display function. So this line of code will be executed. So that moment this local variable will be considered. So how to access this x is equal to 8? Okay. How to access this one? So now you can access this outside of the function. Okay. Print. Now you call from outside of your function. Okay. X. Now you will get this value, global value. Okay. Now see, this is, so you can say this calling as local variable, calling local variable. Calling local variable. Okay, calling local variable. Okay. Inside of a function. Here calling global variable. Calling global variable. So now see, calling local variable inside it is declared. So now calling global variable. Okay, from outside of the function. From outside of the function. Calling global variable outside of the function. So what happens whenever you declare a variable inside and outside with the same variable name, that moment outside global variable, it retains its value. It retains its value. Okay. Local variable retains its value. So value will not be changed, but it is depend upon how to call. So whether you want to call global variable inside, okay. If you want to call this inside, you need to declare here global. You need to declare global. Now this x becomes global. Okay. Why it is giving error? This global need to, because these are statements which is under def black. So this global must follow the margin. That is very important. Now this x is equal to 7 becomes global variable because with the global keyword. Okay. Now what is this? Global x is equal to 7. Statements must be separated by new lines. Okay. Global x. Okay. Global x is declared. Means x is declared as a global. Means inside, outside. Can be used. Now this scope is where its scope means variable scope is it has large scope. It can be it is not local variable. Now you can access inside, outside. So now here x is equal to 7. Means indentation you need to pass. Okay, now what? Now this x becomes your global variable. Already it is a global variable outside you have declared. So now whenever you call, what happened? Let us see what is happening. Now this is local variable. You need to change this because this x is equal to 7. We have declared as a global. So you need to change calling global variable declared inside of a class, inside of a function. Okay. Calling global variable declared inside of a function. Now calling global variable outside of the function. So outside of the function, this will be printed. Okay. So calling global variable declared inside of a function 7, calling global variable outside of the function 7. So now see, you have allotted the value here 8. Okay, but you are not getting 8 here because once x is declared inside of a function as a global, that can be used inside of function as a local variable. Okay, as a local variable and outside of the function as the global variable. Okay, but you are not getting this one. You are not getting this one. You are getting only clear screen. You compile this code. You are getting which value? 7, 7. Okay, but how to get this value? Okay, because it is declared outside of the function. So that moment you don't declare this. Okay, value. You don't declare this value. You put it in comment section. Now this value will be taken. Okay. You know this value outside. This is the value declared. Okay. Inside x is declared as a global variable. So that moment you keep this value comment. Okay. This is somewhat which is local and global variables which is related with the function. Now, what about the class instance variables? Class variable, instance variable, and local variable, which are related with the class and objects. Now, come to the point. Now, this function, I told you that once a function is there, now that function, once you create a class, now class keyword, create a class name student. Okay, student class is there. Class must be terminated with the colon. Now, what happened? One class is declared with class name student. So now, why it is giving error? Because now this variable becomes class variable. So it must be follow some indentation margin, one tab. Now you call it as class variable, not global class variable, because this variable declared inside of a class. Now this function is become a part of your class. This function now becomes your part of your class. So it is not called as a function. Now it is called as built-in method. Built-in method. Okay. Now this function becomes a method of this class. Okay. Now this is class variable. See, in every programming language, Java, Python, C Sharp, C++, class and object concept is there. C will not support object-oriented programming concept. C++, Java, C Sharp, Python, they will support the object-oriented programming concept. Under the object-oriented programming, class and object concept is there. So I have made a video over class and objects. You try to refer that. Okay, what is class and object? So nothing but simply I want to create, clarify here a class, student class. Okay, so student class is what? A logical entity. Logical entity means student class has so many objects. Rahul, Vasu, they're physical objects. Okay, so student means which is student? Rahul, Vasu, they are physical. So student physically, there is no any student. It is logical entity. So every class student has a lot of objects like Rahul, Vasu, Suman. They are the objects. So class is a template to construct the objects. Class is a template. Template means a design model, a blueprint. Class is a blueprint to design to construct the objects. Objects with the parameters. Every object has some human, Rahul has some characteristics, height, weight, attributes. They're called somewhat parameter. Don't confuse parameters, characteristics, attributes, sometimes fields. These are all equal. Okay, don't confuse yourself. Okay. So now this class student has a variable. Suppose it is called student has college name. College name. Now college name is equal to string type of data here. Okay, is. So string always will be kept in double quotation marks. Okay, now student college name is equal to is. Okay, now this is class variable. Why it is class variable? I will explain. Because this college is common property between the objects. The student class has 500 students in a college, but that student, all the students has a common property, college name. But every student has different characteristics, his name, ID, roll number, his height, weight, his color, they are unique. Student to student, they are unique. So we need to construct them with the objects. Okay. So now come to the point how to I will construct and I will differentiate class variable and what is instance variable. So now this variable, if you want to get print out here, simply you print and bracket, you call that college. Okay, now what happened? You can get this printout. Name error, X is not defined. Why? Because you have declared global X. Now remove this, because this global keyword that is only for function, not for the method. Now it becomes a method, display is a method. So remove this keyword. Now there is no any global, that is only up to your function only. Now remove this also. Now what happened? You want to call which one? Okay. Now you want to call this. You want to call this college. Okay. Now total we need to remove these statements. Okay, you remove the total statements. Okay. Now you now your this is a method. Okay. Now this method simply you say this one as suppose X. Okay. Suppose first of all we take this as a number, okay, and then call this number x. Okay. Now x is equal to this much. Now, okay, you keep them all in triple quotes. Triple quotes means that is called your multi-line comments. In Python, triple quotes will be used to declare all lines in multi-line comments. Now, only under a class, only one class variable. Sometimes they are called attributes, fields, okay, attributes, okay, fields, characteristics, parameters, so many names, don't characteristics, okay, parameters, whatever, class attributes, okay. Now, only this x will be printed. See, this is printed, okay. 6 is, you are getting print out. So only one class is declared under class, one variable, class variable is kept. Now you are getting the printout. But how to construct the objects for the student Rahul with their attributes, object attributes. So for that, we need to, before that, I want to declare a method. So now this is a method. The method is part of what? Your class. Okay, method name is display. Now here, if you want to, under this method, one more x is declared. It has a name value 7. So under this method, you are requesting for print x. Okay. So why it is giving error? Margin. That is very important. Huh? Margin. Okay. Tab. Okay, now it is okay. Now here, why it is giving, you have declared a method. Now method is part of your class. Now you want to access this method. How? By creating an object or class name. So now I want to access this as a class name, as a class method. Student dot, okay, student dot display. So now this, you remove this one. Okay, you keep it as a comment section. Now what happens? Now one method is declared. Now this method part of your class. Now this method has a variable x, same like this class variable. It has x. Okay, x is equal to 7. Now you want to get a printout. You are calling that method with the class name. So what happened? So 6 and 7 you are getting printout. 6 is what? Your class variable. So you put a statement here, class variable. Now this is your class variable. You are getting class variable as 6. So what about this, which is declared same x? Here it is x, but it is declared inside of a method. So what is this? It is called your local variable. Local variable declared. Local variable declared inside of a method, not a function. Okay. So this x will be called inside of the method only. This variable visible within the method. Its scope is what? Scope means its visibility, its usability within the method only. So okay, now you are calling this as a local variable. Calling as a local variable declared inside of a method. Inside of a method. Okay. No. So if you know what happened, you are getting 6. 6 is your class variable. Okay, class variable. This is your 7. Okay, local variable. but you are accessing this method with the class name. So now it becomes what? Your class method. Now it is class method. So if you want, I told you that method and parameters, attributes of the class can be accessed either class name, otherwise object. So this method accessed with the class name. So this attribute class variable can be accessed with the class name. Yes. So access this attribute, class attribute with the class name student dot x. Okay. This class variable can be accessed with the class name. Okay. Now see. So whether you will get the print, no, because you need to, if you want to get it, you need to put print statement in front of this. See, you are getting only 6 and 7, but you are not getting class variable, local variable, but from outside of the method, whenever you want to call this as a, you need to put print statement. Print, okay. Now, one more 6 you will get as a printout. See, okay, this class variable called inside of the class, this inside of the class, and 7 local variable that is declared inside of the method. And whenever you call this method with the class name as a class method, you will access this variable by print statement as a local variable. But this class variable can be accessed with the class name. Now this is accessing as a class variable, not instance variable, not instance. Try to understand. We are accessing this 6 as a class variable. I am accessing with the class name now. So if I want to access this x6, okay, with the object, whether it is possible, we need to check back that, okay, whether this can be accessed with the object name. So for that, we need to create the object, okay, create the object for whom class object name is equal, suppose object is equal to, object is equal to, object name is equal to object, okay, after that student name, okay. Now this is the syntax to create the object for Python class, okay. Object name, any xyz, you can keep xyz object name. Here it is student class name, and that name must be suffixed with the brackets. This is called constructor, default constructor. Simply you call it as default constructor. Okay. Now, what happened? So now I told you that how to call this method. Just I told you that I have called this as a class method, and this attribute class variable called with the class name as a class variable. Now, whether I can call this method as object method? Yes. How? Object created. So call it as with the object name, obj dot method name display. So bracket. Whenever you are calling the method, so that must be calling method as a function. Okay. So must be suffixed with the brackets. Okay. That is the difference between a method and function. Always method will be called with the dot operator, either with the class name or object name. Okay. Just I have shown this method called with the class name. Now here this method I want to same method I want to call it as a object method with the object name. So now, so let us see what happened here. Student.display takes 0 positional argument, but 1 was given. Means in which line? This line is 23, 18, line 18. So line 18, whenever you are calling this method as a object method, that student.display takes 0 positional argument, but 1 was given. What do you mean? Positional arguments. That is very important, huh? Because whenever you want to call this method as object method, that moment you need to put a parameter here, that is self parameter. Okay. So why this self parameter? This self parameter indicates that this method belongs to the object. This method belongs to the object, not for class. Okay. So if if you have not kept this self parameter, so Python interpreter understood that this method is a class method. It belongs to the class. So whenever I keep this self parameter, now this method belongs to the refers to the object. Okay. Now you compile this code. So now student are missing one required positional argument. So whenever you have passed self keyword here, that moment you want to call this as object method, and same time you want to call this as a class method. So at a time both will not be done, no? So you keep this as comment section. Now you call this as a object method. You compile this code. So now this is the result. So class variable, this statement you have printed, okay, and then 6, that is for what? Whenever you are calling that method, this attribute class variable, okay, accessed here with the class name, okay, and after that your display method accessed by object. So under this line of statement, x is equal 7, that is accessed as local variable, that is okay. Now your method accessed as a object method by this. Okay. For the attribute, the class variable, there is no any problem. You know, come down here. Now, suppose in this method, okay, x is 6 and this is as a local variable. Now, within this method, if I want to access this class variable, is it possible? Yes, possible. How? You print, you copy, you paste here. Now you call your class variable with the self keyword, dot x. So here this x is declared inside of your method. Okay, but you are calling this x as class variable with the self keyword. Means self keyword, it has two functions in Python. One is to refer it is a reference to the object. Okay, this method belongs to an object, not class. Okay, and this we are calling, we can access the class variables with the self keyword. Okay, now see what will be the, whenever you are calling this method as object method, under this method, these two lines will be printed. Okay. What we are getting? Class variable 6. This is in print statement inside of a class. Now you are calling this x variable as a class variable. Okay, 6. Okay, now this is, you are calling your method display as object method. Under this 7 is there, so local variable and class variable 6. You have accessed class variable inside of a method as with the self parameter. So self parameter, it refers to it is a reference to access the class variables in methods, and it refers to this method belongs to the object. Okay. Now see, next is what? Suppose up to now I have not told you instance variables. Just I have told briefly you class variables and local variables, and how to access the class variable inside of a method with the self keyword. Okay. Now, what about that instance variables? That is very important. Up to now, I have not constructed any object. Object I have constructed, but for that object, this is the object of the student class. So for that object, I have not created any characteristics, parameters. But object attributes, I have not defined up to now. So objects means this is a student class. The student means in a college, so many students are there. 500 students are there. So I told you that class is a blueprint to construct the object. Class is a blueprint to construct the object. So by that means it is a model, otherwise it is a design blueprint. So how I construct the objects? See, now this object is a default constructor. I told you that. So to construct the object is a object constructed, but object attributes means instance variables. By instance variables, object properties will be created. Object is what? Suppose it is a Rahul is a class object name. Rahul is what? Rahul is a object of physical object. Rahul physically existing. Okay, Rahul is an object of student class. So Rahul must have somewhat attributes. What? Rahul has weight, Rahul has height, Rahul has color, Rahul has somewhat okay. So they need to be created, they need to be defined. Okay. Now once it is Rahul, Rahul is an object of student class. So here it is giving error because you have called this method with the object name, but now you have changed the object name. So you need to change this as Rahul. Now it is okay. Now come down. Now I'm going to create one constructor that is called double underscore with the def keyword, but that is called, this is okay, Python IDE, Visual Studio Code. It will help us a lot. It will help us a lot. Okay. Double underscore this is called double underscore method, otherwise underscore method. Double underscore method. Okay, after that column. Okay, this is the syntax. Constructor is created, but this constructor must be part of your class. Okay, must be part of your class. Okay, so now this constructor part of your expected intent in black. So you do one thing, you keep it here. Okay, let us see. Now your constructor created, but if you compile this one, it will give error. Okay. Why? Because once constructor is created, so if there is no any line of code, you need to put pass keyword. Okay. So student object, no attribute display. Student object, where is that student object? Student object. Student is a class. It has no what? Display. Why? Display is a method here, no? Okay. Student object has no attribute display. In which line? 20 line. 20 line, what is that? Okay, no issue. So why it is giving error? Try to understand. In 20 line, error is there. Student object has no attribute display. Because in 20 line, this is called your, now display is a method. Okay. Whenever your method is declared, okay, you have passed a value here. So, but that is okay. That will be taken. Okay. So here we need to pass the value within the method. Okay. Pass a value here 9. Okay. 8 you have passed. Now what happened? Still it is giving student object has no attribute. Okay. Now what happened? See, actually, now it is looking well. we are executing the code. But normally what happens, whenever it will give errors, this is the called indentation, black for one tab, four spaces. So once class is declared, this is a constructor black, this is a method black. Okay, this is a constructor. Under this, we will define some line of statements. If constructor is created, if you don't want to create any line of code, simply keep your pass reserved keyword statement. Okay, under the display method, whatever you declare, whatever the line of code you have written, okay. Now this is very important, margin between class, because now this constructor becomes part of your class. If you don't want to give, so now in this manner, if you give, and if you want to run, it will give error. This type of errors, undent doesn't match in any outer indentation level, like what you. Okay, now here, okay, now if you, so student object has no attribute, you are unable to find out actually, because as per this, if you go for line 20, what, this is a method you are calling with the object name. Rahul is an object, okay, object of student class. But in 20 line, it is stating that student object has no attribute. Student class object Rahul has no attribute display. Means this type of means actually we need to pass the value here. I will explain later. I will pass. Suppose if you, even though if you attribute means if you pass any value here in this, still it gives error. So you will be unable to solve this problem as a programmer, because these are simple margin issues, because this constructor declared, but it is just beneath the class. No, this constructor part of your class. So it expected some margin. So otherwise, this constructor never be independently. It will be always part of a class. So whenever we give a tab, so now this constructor part of a class, four spaces. Now it is giving error because this pass statement is part of your constructor. It must be put under constructor, one tab. Okay. Now this method and class construct both of your class. Okay. So now if you run this code, you will get, so still what is that? That is what Rahul dot display line 20. So line 20, you have passed display as 8 week, because here it is self that is compulsory. After that, you have not declared any parameter. So if you declare any parameter, then it will be accepted 8. Okay, that's why if I pass x here, okay, means in method I have pass x. Okay, now it will be accepted. Okay, now try to understand. Actually, what is happening here? It is very interesting. So in the method, I have passed value as an argument without declaring any parameter here. That's why it is giving error. But if there is no any parameter, there is no any argument, no value. It's called positional arguments. I will explain what are positional arguments. So then there is no any issue. Everything is okay. You will get the, because see here what is happening. Now one constructor is created and one method is declared. Within this method, okay, I have not put the x here. Inside of method, I have put the x here. So if I want to put x here as a parameter, I need to pass the value whenever you are calling that method. This is the method I am calling with the object name. That moment I need to pass the method in the method, okay, x parameter value as an argument, positional argument. Okay, otherwise if parameter is clear, here x is 7, here x is 7. Again, I have created x here. There is no issue. There is no any problem. But this, for this parameter, you need to pass the argument here. You call now. So it will be missing one required positional argument x. Who is missing? Display method. You are calling the display method here, and it is missing one required positional argument for this x parameter. So you pass the value here, 8. So now what will be happen? Okay. Now see, clear scheme. your screen. Okay, now you compile this code. So see here, but here you have declared inside of a method means in brackets x. You have declared x here. So you for this x you have passed the value in whenever you are calling the method as argument, positional argument. But we are accessing only 7. Okay. So that moment, if you declare inside of a class, inside of a method x value, this will be taken. So now this value, if you want to be provided this value to this x, okay, now you comment this one. Now this 8 will be provided to this x. Now your local variable will be called by self.x, your class variable will be called. You will get 8. Okay. Class variable 6. Okay. Your 6 is this is accessing through as a class name. This attribute class variable is accessing with the student class name. Okay. Now local variable is equal to 8 and class variable 6. Okay. This 8 passed to this x. Okay. This whenever you are calling this method with the object name, this value you have passed as argument that will be passed to your x. Okay. Now it is okay. Now what happened? Now I want to create the object here, instance variables. So instance variables, how the instance variable will be created, try to understand for the objects. So here inside of this one, okay, suppose if I put one more x here, x is equal to 9. Okay. So inside of a constructor, I have passed x is equal to 9. So whether I can get print out here, print x. Okay. So whether I can get the x as 9, let us see. So 9. So class variable 6, this is declared inside of a constructor. This x is declared inside of a x inside of constructor. Okay. Now you compile this code. Okay, x inside of constructor 9. Okay. So now x declared inside of a constructor as 9. Here x is declared as a class variable inside of a class. Here x passed as a parameter here. Okay. Everything is different. Okay. Everything is different. So now this 9, I have requested a print statement inside of a constructor. So that value printed. Okay, here. So now what happened? Now this is called, okay, now inside of this constructor, can I access this class variable with how? With self. Copy, paste. It is giving error means you need to follow the margin. Now how can I access inside of constructor this class variable with the self dot x. Okay. Now inside of constructor class variable calling inside of a constructor class variable what x calling class variable x. Okay, calling inside of constructor. Now see, you will get inside of the constructor we are calling x. Okay, this x declared in constructor, that is equal 9. X declared inside of a constructor. X declared inside of a constructor. Class variable x calling inside of constructor. See, class variable. This is class variable inside of the class. class variable, it is declared inside of the class. X declared inside of the constructor. This X declared inside the constructor. You are calling X, class variable X, calling inside of the constructor with the self keyword. Okay. Try to understand here. Self X. Here also I have called the X class variable with the self keyword. Here I have in the constructor also I have called the X as a class variable as the self. So self keyword used to access the class variables either inside of the method or inside of the constructor. Okay. They are calling as a class variables inside of the constructor. So now this is not called as instance variable. This is class. We are calling the class variable. That's why the class. What is the difference between instance, local, class variables? I am calling X with the self keyword. So the self keyword used to access your class variable inside of the class, inside of the constructor, inside of method. Okay. Now that is okay. What is this X? This X we have accessed. Where is this? X is equal to 6. No? Print student there. This X called as what? X called as student, called with student class name, called with the class name. Okay. So here X called. So here X called with the class name. X is what? Class variable. X is a class variable called with the class name. Okay. Now local variable is equal to 8. Local variable declared in where? Where is local variable? Not declared. X passed as a parameter, but value passed in argument. Whenever the method is calling, this value passed to this local variable. Okay. So that is what I told you, that if you have declared inside of a method, this value will be taken. Even though you have passed the value in the method as a positional argument, only this value will be updated. See, here 7, local variable 7, but you have passed the value. But if you remove this value, it will give error because it is requesting for a positional argument X, but because that X declared in your method as a parameter. So once X is here, you need to pass the value as a positional argument. Why positional argument? If you pass one more parameter here, so for every parameter, we need to pass the values here. Suppose here one more parameter. So you need to pass 2 arguments here. So it is requesting for X and Y 2 positional arguments. For every position of X, Y, you need to pass the values here. So that is depend upon this X holds string, integer, float, depend upon you. So if you pass float values 7.5, 8, 9.7, there's no issue. Okay. Now these 2 values will be passed to X, Y. See, but this passed to here, but you requested the X. Even though if you pass the values here, once X is declared here, you are requesting X, only X7 will be taken. Okay. If you want to get these outputs as a printout, so you need to keep this one as comment and you request for X, Y. Okay. Now you will get the print. See, 7.8, 9.8. Okay, now these values pass to these variables. Okay, now come to the point. Now, still I have not briefed instance variables. Okay, somewhat I hope that students, you have somewhat idea class variables, local variable, and global variables I have briefed in under a function. Now here in class and method there is no any global variable. And even though in function also I have briefed about local variables. Here in class and methods, the constructor is also special method. It is a special method. special method created to construct the object, to call the object. Whenever class is created, along with this constructor also called, okay, to create the object, okay, to construct the object characteristics, object parameters. Okay, without this constructor, we can't create the object characteristics, object parameters without this constructor. As I told you that in Python, one class is declared and defined with some attributes, their class attributes. And okay, after that, by this class, that is what your class, it is a template. By that, we can construct the object characteristics by this special method constructor, double underscore method. How? Let us see. So, as I told you that Rahul, where is that Rahul? Rahul dot display, it is a method. Now, within this Rahul constructor, I am going to construct the parameter attributes of the Rahul object. Rahul is a student. He has some word color. So see, first of all, I am going to construct the object properties. Rahul has some word weight. Okay. GHT, weight, comma, height, GHT, comma, color. Okay. So I have constructed 3 parameters for this. I have passed some parameters within this constructor. It is a special method. By method always having brackets. Okay, now that's why it is a method. Within this method, I have passed 3. Apart from this self, this is compulsory and it must be the first parameter. And in place of this, you can keep anyone. It doesn't matter. Okay, you can keep C. There's no any problem here. Chocolate you keep here. There's no any problem. There's no any problem. But that must be the first parameter. Okay, even the method also you can keep anything, chocolate biscuits in place of self. But that must be the first parameter. Okay, after that, whatever the parameters you can keep. Okay, now see, if I change this as D, there's no any problem here. Okay, but that must be the first parameter. So why it is giving error? It is giving a error because you have changed itself as, so you change this as D. Okay, no issue. After that, now under this constructor, 3 parameters I have passed: weight, height, color. Now we need to define for these parameters values as argument in this constructor. Okay. Otherwise, it give error. See, it is requesting for 3 required positional arguments: weight, height, and color. In double underscore method, 3 required positional arguments. Why? Already one self is there. It will not be considered. Only 3 for these 3 parameters. Y positional arguments for weight, we need to pass. Where is our constructor? This is for weight. Weight will be what? How many? 70 kgs. Then 1 parameter. If I pass 1 parameter, it requests for 2 more parameters. It is requesting for 2 more parameters. So 2 more. One is next height 165. Okay. Now if I compile this, it requests for 1 more positional argument, color. So you pass the color value as a string type of, always the color, it is black, suppose black color, that must be, it is a string, it must be in single quotation. Now for the 3 parameters, I have passed arguments. Why they are called positional argument? For every position of parameter, for this position of parameter, this will be allotted. For this position of parameter, this parameter, this will be allotted, not be interchanged. For first parameter, first argument. That's why positional arguments. Okay. Now you compile this one. What happened? Okay. Name self is not defined. In which line? Because self.x here. Where is that self? Because we have changed the self name as CDY. That's why it is giving error. You need to check back in which line calling inside 11 line. 11 line is error. Print class self.x. That is why. Okay, in the method, you are calling class variable with the self name, but here you have passed self as C. So you change this as self as C. See, now compile this code. Now you are getting everything is okay. Now question is what? You have passed the parameters, means object parameters, but you are not getting as a printer. One object is created for this student class. One object created Rahul with the parameters, arguments. These are called characteristics parameters. Okay, don't worry. One object is created, but how to get printout? Okay. Now, if you pass the printout here, you request for print here, print in bracket. How to call this? How to call this? How to call this constructor? These parameters. Print. Every time you need to pass what? So if you pass print weight, WIGHT, comma, weight height, comma, HEIGHT, comma, height, color. Okay. Now you are requesting for a print weight, height, color, but it is giving error because these are not defined. How to know that? How to know them? How to know them? Okay. You can call with them with the self parameter, self dot, okay, self dot height, self dot height, and self dot color. Okay, but problem what you want to call them. You are requesting because this method can be accessed by object name. Okay, object name, otherwise class name. But how these parameters will be accessed? Because this constructor double underscore method has no any name. If I want to access this parameter with self parameter, but these are declared as weight, height, color. These are declared as weight, height, color. But how? But it is very somewhat problem, no? So we can access them. So if I want to get them, okay, with the object name, what is, let us see, what is that object your Rahul? Rahul, na? Rahul dot weight. Okay, it is taking, and Rahul dot height, it is accessing. Okay, Rahul dot color. Okay, now because these properties, weight, height, color, they are for declared in object constructor. Okay, now if you compile this code, print Rahul student of the no attribute weight, in which line? 23 line. 23 line where print Rahul weight, Rahul height, weight, height, WEIGHT, Rahul dot height, Rahul dot color. So student object word Rahul has no attribute weight. Okay, so it is giving this type of problem. So how these attribute, these values passed, or these parameters passed here, now these to be passed to, these to be called. How can we call them? So you call them, you cut this print, you cut this, you pass here, you paste here. Now, okay, now what happened? Don't call with Rahul, no issue. Okay, no need to put them Rahul here. Okay, Rahul. Now see what happened. So see, where is that record? This is the record. Okay. So whenever constructor created under these parameters, one object. So now object constructed with the object parameters. Okay. Now these are called instance variables. Instance variables. These are called instance variables. Okay, why? Because these instance variables, there is that weight, height, color, they have been constructed inside of the constructor for the objects. They will be updated by your this constructor, which is whenever a class is created, whenever sorry, object is created for the class with the class name. Within this bracket, whenever brackets kept, this is called constructor. Under this, I have passed the values. Now these values passed to these variables. Okay. Somewhere you can find them as local variables. I have studied in the document somewhere because this is a method. That's why in the method, if we declare anywhere, they are called local variables. Somewhere you can find them as local variables. Now, actually, these are instance variables. Okay. Within the constructor, these variables passed as parameters. So they are called instance variables because they will be declared, they will be created for the object, Rahul object. Suppose if one more object is here. So one more object is here. In the class, how many objects in the class? Student class, many objects may be there. Many objects. Many. This object name is called Suman. So Suman objects. So class name is only one. Okay, fruit class, only one fruit class. But objects of fruit class, orange, papaya, banana. Okay, so many objects of fruit class. But class name fruit class is only one. Student class is only one. But student has many objects. Rahul, Suman, Vasu, Sunita, Supriya, so many objects. But every object has different characteristics. Okay, weight may be differ. Okay, height may be differ, color may be differ, but they have somewhat common property. They have somewhat common property. So that common property, suppose this college is a common property. Okay, college name is equal to what? His college. His college is the common property. So this property can be shared with all objects. Can be shared with all objects. How? Let us see. So first of all, one more object created. Now this object has differs with the parameter characteristics. This Suman has 77 weight and height may be 169. His color may be somewhat light, black, whatever. So these are somewhat, he differs. So now these two records will be printed. See, where is that? Name X is not defined because now I have changed this X as the college name. So in which line 6? Where is that X? C dot X. Okay. Now you pass this as C dot college. Okay, no issue. Still X is there inside of name. X is not defined. Which lines? 4 line, 6 line. 4 line, 6 line. There's no need here. You need to pass it college. Okay. Okay, now it is okay. It is over. 6th line. 6th line is where it is okay. Here, no issue. Now here, X called with class student dot X. Student has no attribute because you are calling this where student dot X, student dot X. You know, we are calling this is no? So you change this as college. Okay, now okay. Now everything is okay. You are calling. Now student object has no attribute X. In which line? 17. 17th line. 17th line and 24. Student object has no attribute. 24th line. This is okay. Now 24th, 17th line. D dot D comma print. Now here you want to access this X with the self parameter. X is what initially we have declared this college as X, na? So you change this as what? X in place of X college. Okay. Now you come here. Now everything is okay. Now what happened? Records are, you are getting how many records? You are getting only one record. One record, na? So what about that second record? Okay. Same record to be printed, na? Suman, that is for student class created, and you have put the print statement where in weight, height, color, weight, height, color. Okay. Now I want to get one more record here. So now here, see, here's the screen. You compile this code. Only one record I am getting. I need to get one records. One more Suman is created. Where is that? 16th November. This is called Rahul. Vasu. Okay. It is to be called. Where is that? Okay, now two records created. So these two records will be printed. Okay, this is one record, this is one record. So if one more record we have created, so that is what you copy this one, you copy, you paste, means we are creating more objects for the class. Class has only one name, but the class may have so many objects. Every object has differ in parameters, characteristics. Okay. Now Suman is what Vasu. So Vasu has somewhat weight is equal to 74, 75. His height is equal somewhat 168. And he is somewhat gold color. Okay. Like watching. Now what happened? Now if you this record also will be printed. Okay. Now thing is what these are what we did here. We have created the objects, different student objects. That every student object has different attributes. Okay, different attributes. They are called instance variables. They are called instance variables. Means the variables which are created for the objects. Every variable hold different value. So they are created for the object. Okay. So they are called instance means object. They are object instance variables. So without the constructor in Python, so object attributes, don't confuse attributes, parameters, characteristics, variables, all are equal. Okay. So without the constructor, object attributes can't be assigned. Can't be updated. Updated means once you have constructed, after that, if you want to change every object properties, if you want to change, you can change 77. Okay, that will be printed. Once you created, once you created, okay, once you created the object and with attributes, okay, and they can be designed, in this default constructor. They will be passed to these, okay, parameters, and within this print statement we can get them. Okay, only once we need to write within the constructor print statement. Okay, no need to call every time with the different. Once you put a print statement in the constructor, 1,000 lines of uh, students are there, but you need to fill the characteristics. Okay, and they will be called one all along. Okay, at a time. But question is that, suppose, as I told you, that these are all instance variables. These instance variable will be constructed in your constructor. Okay, in constructor instance variables. Why instance variables? They have been created for object. Okay, they will be shared with the object. Okay, question whether I can call this class variable with a student. These are instance variables. Now, can I call this class variable with the student? Yeah. Whenever, see, every student has a common property. Okay, college name, if 5,000 students are studying in a college, so that college is the common property. That college will be shared with along with all the objects. Okay, but only the common property will be shared with all the objects, because all the objects have same common property, college name. Okay, so how to update this class variable along with all the objects? Let us see. For that, through the constructor, we need to take the help of constructor. Here, suppose here you need to pass a parameter as a college. Okay, once college parameter passed here, so under this constructor we need to pass, otherwise it will give error, positional argument error. So see, one positional argument college, because you have passed for 3 parameters values, but you have missed for college, so it is requesting for positional argument. So every record you need to pass a value here. That is what college, what in single quotation mark, suppose it is KISS college. Okay, KISS. So it is also same, suppose KISS. Okay, so it is also KISS. Okay. Now what happened? Now whenever you call this, compile this one, every okay, this college. Okay, now what happened? Whenever you call the print, where is that? See, in the method constructor here, na? So here college you have passed here. Okay, and see, it is not updated. It is not updated. Why? Because where is that? With every record that college to be added, na? Every record college to be added. Every record college to be added. See. So whenever you call this college, here in the print statement, you need to pass that college. Okay. Okay. Now what happened? This record college will be added with all your student records. Okay. That this is KISS. Okay. Now this is what actually you have created inside of the constructor. Now it is what instance variable. because for every record, along with every record, you have passed the value. Okay, so once it is common property, so this class variable can be shared with all your objects. How? Simply you change your, you access this in constructor self dot, okay, self dot what? It is C dot, no? So you change this as C dot. C dot college. Now your college name, okay, that is what taken as class variable. Class variable, that is common. So sometimes what happens, suppose your college, he is from different colleges. He is from KISS, the student from somewhere else, PACE, okay, PACE Engineering College. So this student from RISE Engineering College, but now these all students migrated to one college, that is what KISS College. Okay, so now I need not to change here every student. I need not to change this class name as KISS. Simply you in the constructor, you simply you put this parameter as self dot, because you are accessing this college. This is a college class variable. You can access this class variable with the self parameter. So all records will be updated with the class name. Whenever different students are different, they are from different colleges. So if they migrated to one college, otherwise, if you want to change their college name as common property, one college name. So for every 5,000 records, no need to change every way. Simply you in the constructor, you put the, so see what happened. Now that KISS will be updated with the same all the students. These students are differing from different colleges. Okay, so all the students, they are getting what? KISS, KISS, KISS. So this KISS is not instance variable here. This KISS is what? Class variable. You are accessing the class variable with the self parameter in the constructor. Where is that? C dot. Okay, C means I have changed it itself as C. Okay. So if you don't want to change, if you want to keep this as it is, so whatever that record you have passed along with the values passed in your object constructors, okay, they will be passed. See this record, okay, KISS, this is for PACE, this is for RISE. If you want to put their name, okay, okay, okay. So somewhat this is what class is, class variables and instance variable. So I hope that you understood that this is instance variable. Okay. This is the instance variables which are created inside of the constructor. Okay, for the instance. Instance means objects. Okay. Whatever the parameters you passed inside of the constructor, and they are the instance variable. They hold the every object characteristics. For object to object, these instance variables vary for object to object, but the class variable, it will not be varied. Class variable holds a value which is common to all the objects, that can be shared with the self parameter. Okay, you pass self means C. I have put this, I have changed. I told you that self can be put any whatever any word here. Okay, if you change this as C dot C dot, okay, C dot, okay, where is that C dot? Not C dot, okay. Now this kiss will be added all with all the records. Otherwise, if you remove the C and self parameter, whatever the value you passed, they will be printed. So now let us explore some new things with this, okay. So suppose here in this class some C weight is declared, weight is equal 78, height is equal 177, color is equal to string black, okay. Now these three declared inside of a class, okay, along with the college. Now if I want to pass these values to these records, same, every record is passed this class variable, okay. Even though I have declared every object with a different parameter, different characteristics, every object has different characteristics, but I want to pass these all values to all the records, same values, okay. As I have shared this, college common property with the self, where is that self parameter, simply you put them, okay. Now what happened, every record is getting different attributes, characteristics, but whenever I want to access, I want to pass these values as class variables, simply you do one thing, self dot, okay, weight, self dot height, self dot color, but why it is giving error, your self is now C, you put C dot C dot okay. Now see what will be happen, all the records are same, 78 177 black is 178 177 black is 77, okay, three records. So what happened here, now question students, just I would like to know that whether these values are class variables, otherwise instance variables. My question from all of you, I want to ask, these are class variables. Class variables, they have shared with along with the all objects. If 5,000 line objects are there, 5,000 objects will be shared with these class variables. All the records having same values. So that is the way how to share. But here only actually common property that is to be shared. But I want to differentiate actually what is class variable and class instance variable. That's why I'm stating that. Okay. So now see, now I have called these variables with the self keyword. Okay. Now all that values shared along with the, now these unique values are changed. Unique values changed with the common properties. Okay, now let us do one thing, some more exploration. Some more exploration is what? Some more exploration. What? Suppose, see, here if I do somewhat self dot, if I write like this, self dot weight, somewhat exploration I'm doing, so try to understand as a program. Self dot weight is equal to weight. If I have written like this, okay. Now self dot height GHD height is equal to HEIGHD height. Okay, self dot color is equal to color. Next, self dot college is equal to college. So now what happened? Self means why? Because here there is no any self. C. So C every time C. C dot C dot C dot. In Java, actually, this self keyword in Java, that is called this keyword. Okay, to differentiate that, these are what weight, height, color. They are what instance variable created for object. These see self dot height. These are class variables to differentiate that, because self keyword will be used to access the class variables. Okay. Sometime I told you that these are in this is a special method declared in the method. That's why somewhere you will get them as the local variable also, but instance variable created for the object. Okay, created in the constructor. Without this constructor, we can't create the characteristics, attributes. Okay, instance variables, parameters, all are equal. Okay, for the objects. We can't update them. Even the ones we need to create them. After that, we can update the characteristics of the object. So now what do you mean of this? If I do like this, same parameters I have passed in the constructor, weight, height, color, college. Here also, these are class variables. These are instance variables. Now I told you that these are equal. Okay, this instance variable is equal to this class variable with the self parameter. Self parameter is used to access the class variables. So I told you that equal. To differentiate that, okay, in Java, this keyword will be used in place of self. Okay, now what happened? Let us see what we are getting. We are getting what here? We are getting now different records. Different records. Okay, what are the different as per whatever the records, all that as per their records we are getting. As per their records, we are every student has their records. Okay, but why they are getting their records? Even though I have put C a self parameter here in the constructor. Where is that constructor? This is in self. Okay, so I told you that by the self I can access the class variable. Okay, class variable, but I am getting every record of their own records. Why? Because we have told that both are equal here. Both are equal here. So because now these values pass to whom? These instance variables. So they have passed. Okay, they have passed. But my question is that, as a my exploration, whether these values, local variables, can be updated. So these instance variables can be updated here. Whatever the instance variable you update here, they will be updated. So whenever, if I will not put this statement, this is equal to statement here. So these class variable will be updated. So if you put them in comment section, triple quotes here, how many quotes? Triple quotes. Suppose if you want to keep any multiple lines in Python under comment section, okay, triple quotation. So it is giving error X indentation, unexpected indent, X is equal to 9. one place. What is we are getting? We are getting indentation error unexpected. Okay. Okay, this one. X. You put here and there is no an issue. Comment section. Okay, all are getting error. Huh? Okay. You now what happened? What happened? What happened? What happened? Because we have declared the statements here, no? So it is giving, I think, margin issue. Very, it will give a lot of trouble to you. Huh? In Python, no? They will give a lot of trouble to you. But now these to be put somewhat margin because it will give a lot of errors until you will not adjust them. No? All of them give a lot of errors. Why? Because this is to be adjusted here. Otherwise, no. Due to this one, I am getting the problem because this statement must follow one margin. So these comments, even though if they are multiple comments, okay, they must be follow same line. So now what is I am getting here? Try to understand. So now everything is that. So I have put this line of code comment section. Now I am requesting with the self parameter. So all the class variable will be updated with your record. Same record will be updated. All our class variables. All our class variables are sharing with your objects, not their instance variables. Why? Because you are requesting for self. If you remove this self, you will get their records. Okay, as it is. Their records. Their own records. They will get their different records. Okay, now if you put them all, you remove this quotation marks. Now what happened? You equal that your instance variable equal to your class variables. Now what happened? These values will be passed to your instance variable. So only instance variable records will be updated. Instance variable records will be updated. But now if you want to pass this common property, these are not common property because every student has different unique properties. Height may be differ, color may be differ, weight may be differ, but college may be same. That is common property. So this common property I want to share with my all records, even though they have their own college name, but I want to share with this common property with all the students. So as I told you that moment, you do one thing, you put simply here self dot, okay. Self means C dot. C dot. Now you are getting what all are is not changed. It is not changed because everybody is getting their properties. Even though I have put that is what self parameter here in the constructor. Where is that self parameter you have passed here? But that moment you remove them. Okay, in triple quotation marks. You put them in triple quotation. You put them in triple quotation. Okay. Now only triple quotation means now this total code is in under comment section. Now this common property will be shared with your this is what all records. Rest of the instance variables are same, but this class variable is shared with all the objects. So in the some classes in my videos and kept in YouTube, I told that these class variable will be updated because due to this statement, because these actual values pass it to instance variables and instance variables is equal to class variables. So these values will be updated. I thought, but it is not happening. Okay, you correct yourself in some YouTube videos I kept that in constructor whenever I have made some classes or constructor and wherever this concept is their class variable, that moment I felt that these are being because no in Java it is happened. In Java it is happened, okay, but in Python it is not because these class variable they are not being updated. Okay, with this because once these values to be passed, these values will be passed here and instance variable is equal to your local class variables. I felt that this will be updated, but they are not being updated. Okay, but in Python, in Java, they will be updated. Okay, let us see in Java whether they will be updated or not. Let us check that. So I need to go where in a Java file. So let us check that. It is C. Go here. Here you create show and run commands. Create a new Java project. Show and run commands. Create a new Java project. No build tools. So in your computer, in your PC, create a that is what a folder. Within that folder, select that folder. Now put a folder name here. Suppose it is a file name. File name is today practice. That is what somewhat variable. Suppose variable. Suppose variable. So now enter this window, maximize this one. Oh, here in the source file, click here, source file. Under this, you click on this, right click on this, you rename this as, what is that variable? You change this as variable .java. You enter now. Enter. Enter that. Where is that? Click on this. So it is your file name java dot variable dot java. You change this as variable. Okay. Variable. Okay, we will change it as a class name as student. Okay, because we need to create as in Python. Okay, student dot java. Okay, it is now change it to your file name as is to be changed here. Student. Okay, now it's student. Now what happened? Your class name must be, as I told you, that student. Okay. So now this is your main class in Java. Your file name equal to always class name. No, here I told you that. So this is class has an integer. That is what your public student. Why it's be giving error? Student dot Java. Why? Syntax error and token public class expect of this token. No issue. Okay. Class expected after this token. Class expected. No issue, no issue, no issue. Okay. public student. Okay, now here suppose one variable is that index declared. So in Java, X declared, okay, without assigning any value. But in Python, now we need to assign the value, otherwise it will give error. So now this X is declared. Suppose if you want to get this, what is the default value of this X? How can you copy this one? You copy, you paste here, you paste here. Okay, now you put that X value, X. Okay, can you do this here? No, because it is a class variable. It is not a class variable. Actually, it is a public variable, instance variable. Okay, it will give error. See, if you want to call this X, na, it is not able to understand that. Try to understand what is happening here. Main method not found. Main method not found. Why main method not found? Student dot Java, student public. So actually, what was the error here? After that, na, so class, so it was giving error. Error what? Syntax error and token public class expected after this token. Class means we need to write a class. Okay, that's why it's giving error. Okay, now it is okay. Now class is here, the student, one integer type of data X is declared, but it is not assigned with any value. Now you are requesting printout of X. Okay, because you are requesting, why did we cannot make a static reference to the non-static field. This is non-static field, means it is a public field. It is called instance field. It is not static. It is not class variable. It is instance variable. It is clearly stating that you can't make a static reference. You are calling this as a static. Okay, but this is non-static field, means public field. Okay, if you want to call it as a class variable, you need to declare it is a static keyword. Okay, then you can call it. So now see what happened. What is the value we will get here? See, 0. Okay, why it is 0? Its default value I have not assigned, but its default value will be 0. Its default value will be 0. So if you pass any value here, no, that value will be printed in place of 8. Okay. Now, what I want to say that this value can be changed. Yeah, but in Python, I tried, but it was I was unable because I felt that by the constructor, I am using that self dot weight is equal to weight. That moment they are being updated, but in Java, let us see this value can be changed. How? How initially it is not assigned any value, so its default value 0. So if I want to call this as a object method, object, it is what simply I have called it as a class variable. If I want to call this as with the object name, I need to create the object here first. One is that object I need to create, suppose object in Java. First of all, class name, student, okay. Rest object names, take any object, anything XYZ is equal to new keyword, and then again student name. Student, this is the constructor. So constructor in Java, default constructor, default constructor. Okay. Now what happened? Let us see. Now object is created. You want to access this. You are accessing. Why it is giving error? The value of the local variable object is not used. Okay, no issue. Okay. So this is your class variable. Class variable means static variable. Static variable. So you want to access this. This is okay. Now, if I want to access this as if the object name, okay, would be J dot. Okay. Whether I can access it? No. Why? Because this is static class variable. So if you want to access it is a class object name, you need to remove this. Okay, this one. Now we can access this one. Okay. Now okay. Now I am getting 8. Okay. Now what happens is clear. Now one more time if I compile this one, I am getting 8. Okay. Now it is fine. It is fine. Fine. What I am accessing this as a instance variable. Okay, now how this value will be updated, that I want to check back. Okay, so how this value can be checked by the creating constructor. Constructor in Python public okay constructor is the class name is the constructor. Okay, constructor is a special method, as I told you that it holds the brackets, and after that these two flower braces, open brace. Now one constructor created. Syntax is what? Public and class name as it is, but it must have the brackets. Okay, your constructor is created. This is the main constructor. Okay. Main constructor. Okay. By this, I hope that this value can be updated. How? See, if it has a value, one more value X. Okay, that must be defined as which type of it is integer type. Okay, now okay. Now here, if both are same, I need to, as in Python, one keyword, self keyword I have used here. This keyword is used here. This dot X is equal to X. This is the syntax. Here there is no any issue of margin. Okay, that is the here no any headache in Python. For our adjusting looking good, we need to adjust that. But in Python, the margin issue, it will give a lot of trouble to you. So now this, why do I want to differ that? This is what in constructor, whatever the variable I have declared, that is a local variable. Now this is what this keyword, it refers to the class variables. It refers to the class variable. Okay, and which are declared under the class. Okay, they may be static variable, they may be your instance variable. If I declare this as a static, it becomes class variable. If I remove this static keyword, it becomes the instance variable, but they are declared under the class. So that's why simply they are called class variable. So to differ them, this is the class variable. Okay, this keyword user to access the class variable. If I want to, you don't want to use this keyword, simply if the variables are differ, this is X, but this is capital X. Capital X. So that moment, no need to write this keyword here. Okay, this keyword, if they both are different. No question is that why it is giving error, because it is undefined. Once constructor, this constructor is created, we need to define for this parameter X defined in the constructor. I need to pass the value for this here. That is suppose 7 I have passed in here. Now see X taken 7. Now this 7 passed to this X. Okay. This is a local variable. Okay. By this constructor, this value will be passed to here. After that, let us see. After that, this will be updated. That's why I want to check back that. Now I am accessing this as what? This X as a instance variable. Sorry, object variable, instance variable. I am accessing this as a instance variable. Instance variable. Instance variable, because this variable, this is declared. If it is declared with static, now it is instance variable. If it is, sorry, if it is declared with static, class variable. If it is not declared, it is a instance variable. So now what happens? See, now object.x. Okay, now this value put in the constructor 7, it is to be passed to this X. if I want to access this X, okay, this is okay. I am getting what? I am getting 8, but it is to be updated if I call this X, capital X. Why? It is giving error. Capital X is where? Capital X, this is to be capital X9. Okay, first X is equal to X. If it is capital X, this is small x. Suppose if you feel this small x, now capital X is equal to X. This is class variable. This is your local variable declared in the constructor. Now you want to call what? This one, na? Okay. What you are getting? You are getting, see. Now, how? You are getting what? I am getting class, this variable, na? So its value was 8. Initially, it was 8. Now I have passed the 7 under the constructor. So now this is updated. You are getting this value. But you are calling what? Which variable? You are calling the variable X, declared capital X with the object name. So if you put this as simple X, you will get what? Which variable you will get? Small x. Small x is for local variable. What is the value for small x? I have passed small x value where? In constructor 7. You will get the 7 value. You will get the, it cannot be resolved as, what is the error in line 15? Object.x. So object.x, why you come? So object dot means you want to, the object dot x, always the class variable means the variables declared under the class, they can be called with the object. So small x is not defined here, capital X is defined here. So you change it as a capital X. So you want to access this, okay, its value is 8, but its value being published as printed 7. So myself, what I'm feeling, so this value is updated by the constructor. But in Python, it is not being done. These variables will not be updated in Python. Here it is initially, if I have not passed any value here, its value will be 0. That is the default value. That is the default value. But why we are getting 7? Because you have passed the value here. You will not pass the value here because you have created the constructor. Before creating the constructor, its value will be 0. Its default value will be, where is that? So here, so that's why that moment, if it is in comment section, that moment don't call it as a object with the object. Okay. So it is giving error because now it is what you are calling this variable, but it is not, you want to call this now. So you can't call this as a static reference, as a class variable. If you want to call it as a non-static field, you need to create the object. But I have not, I put the that is what your object and constructor, everything in comment section. So I can call this only with the class variable, static keyword only. Okay. Now, if I call this, that is okay. Its value will be published as 0 because I have not assigned any value to this one. Okay. Now it is a class variable with the static. Okay. Now I have called this. Okay. Now if I want to call this as object, I need to create the object created. Now once is object created, okay. Now object is created, so I can't call this as a static variable. So remove this one. Now it is a non-static field means instance variable, but that can be accessed only by the object name would be j dot x. Now its value I have not passed it. Okay, so here I need to pass the value 9. Now this value will be passed to here. Okay, because now this value small x, this is the constructor. This constructor will pass this value to this local variable. Now local variable is equal to your class variable. So now this will be updated. I have not passed any value. So this will be updated. This value 0 will be updated with the 9. So this is 9. So I practically have done it. I felt that, okay, these variables can be updated. Instance variables can be updated by this constructor. Okay, even though whether you have assigned any value or not. Okay, so now whenever you are calling this one, so it is 8, but you have passed the value 9, so you will get the 9. Okay, 9. Okay, because this value, this is updated. Okay, best example, if you will not pass any value, that moment it is 0, and that will be your constructor is not created, that value will be 0. Whenever constructor created, whatever the value you pass it, that will be passed to your x. Okay, that is being done in Java, but in Python class variables we need to do somewhat extra magic. Okay, to update the class variables in Python. Okay, somewhat we need to do somewhat extra efforts. We need to do that in Python. Okay, if you want to update the class variables. Okay, so in Python, in the videos, wherever I told you that class variables will be updated by constructor, so that is not logically right. Okay, you correct yourself. Okay. Now, thing is that once constructor is created in Java, that is okay. So same in Python. In Python, what I did that that is what common property that can be shared with all objects. So the same thing. Yeah? So suppose this is a static. Normally, that common field will be declared as common object. That is, suppose this is a college name. College is what string. Always double quotation is. This is what this is a college. So this is what. So it is a string. So it is to be declared as string. Okay. Restring now. Now what happened? This x is equal to x. Why? Because it is giving error into string. So here this is string. So you need to put this is also declared as a string. Okay. Now it is okay. Now it is a string. This is string. Now x is equal to x. Both are different. No need to this keyword. Okay. Now what happened? This is the common property of the students. Okay. Now students records, let us create the records for the student. Okay, one student record is that here change this object as Rahul. Rahul as a object for the student class. Now Rahul has somewhat parameters. Some parameters what? So here you need to say this one as so here you need to do somewhat. Rahul has parameters like what int x, int weight. Okay, weight is a parameter. WEIGHT. Remove this. It holds integer value. Next, string Suppose one parameter, height, height. Height also integer. Okay, now okay. height, int weight, int height, height. It is error because comma. You need to separate them comma. Now what happened? This is the common property that will be shared with all of your objects. One object created Rahul. So for these properties, I need to pass the value. That's why it is giving error. For weight, suppose 890, comma, height 175, okay, comma. Now for this string x, now string x, suppose this string is equal remove this string now, so no issue here, okay. Let us see that only two values, two characteristics. Now what happened? Remove this one. Now what happened? One record created object, one Rahul for the student class object. It has two arguments. Okay, these two arguments, these are the positional arguments for weight for 90 and height for 175. So now why it is giving error? Why it is giving error? Because you have declared this as a static common property. So you can't call this with this object. You can call this as a student class name. Student, only class name. You can access this one. Okay. Now what happened? Now why it is giving error? The value of the local variable Rahul not is used. Okay, no issue. Now under okay, x is equal to x. Okay, there is no any x here. That's why it is giving error. Okay, now you need to pass them that here weight height. Okay, here there is no any x here. No, that's why it is giving error. You comment here. There is no any issue. So now these values to be passed to them. Okay, these values to be passed to them. How you call them? You call in the constructor, you put a print statement, system dot out println except. Now within the bracket, you call them as weight plus, okay, plus weight plus height. Okay, now this is okay. Okay, now terminate this one. Now what happened? So now run this one. We are getting what this much of 90 plus 70, 175. So no plus here, remove this plus. Okay, you will get this one whatever 90, 175. So 90, 175 what these values pass it to your local variables, your records updated. So if I have one more student record I have created, copy, you paste here. So now this is what one more record, Rahul Vasu. Vasu is one more record. Vasu, so he has somewhat characteristics are different. 95, this is 170. So Vasu. Okay, now two records. Let us see. Two records to be printed. Okay, these two records will be printed. Okay, so one prototype I have kept in the constructor. Okay, if 1,000 students I have created, the 1,000 records will be printed. So, but I want to share this common property with all the instance variables. So here, normally these, as I told you that you can call them in local variables declared in the method, but these will be used as a instance variable. This is now called as instance variables because they are every instance, every object has unique properties, unique characteristics. Okay. So every object has unique. So they are these variables along with the object, like in Python, they are called instance variables. So can I access this common property along with these this common property can be shared along with all the objects? Yes. How it is? How can it be done? How can it be done? So simply you need to you need to add this parameter here. You pass a plus some quotations space. This it gives somewhat white space. Huh? So next again plus here. Now you pass this word. This is x, no? You share this x. Okay. Now x. If I pass this x, so how it will be taken? How will whether it will be updated? So see this property, common property can be added with all objects will share this property. Okay. All objects can share this property. Okay. Here, no need to define x is equal to x. Simply, I have applied this x. Okay. This is a why? Because this is a static field. So this static field, this is a class variable declared with the static, so that can be used without creating any object. Okay, simply I can use it in a constructor. I can use it in a constructor. Okay. So it every object. So what is the use of this class variable? Whenever class is loaded, na? So for every object, this instance variable will be loaded, so it takes more memory. So once class is loaded, for this class variable, one time memory will be taken. One time. So that's why by using a class variables in Java, memory management can be done efficiently. Why? Because for every object, I need not to add this class variable. So whenever instance variables are loaded, memory will be, for every object, memory will be loaded. So if every time this is declared as a instance variable, if I remove this one, so if I add this, okay, with every object, so more memory will be consumed. So that is better to create the class variable with the static keyword, and that can be shared with all your objects, okay, to consume the less memory. So this practically I want to show to comparison with the Python and Java, how the instance class variables will be shared along with the objects, okay, and what is the use of class variables whenever they are being shared with the objects. So practically I done class variable can be updated its value by constructor. Practically I have done it. Okay. But in Python, no, where is that Python file? Okay, I need to go Python, open that Python file. Open file. Open, where is that our Python? Sorry, before that we were doing Python, VS Code, Python. Today we were doing, today's date is what? Latest today, Today is what, 15, no? Today 15. Where is that today's file? 15 today is 16 or 15? 16. In Python, VS Code Pythons, today 16 November file is where? Ayush. This is the 16. 16, okay. You open this one. Okay. Here. Okay, here both are compared. Print loop default value as okay. It is there. I have briefed. No, it is not there. No? It is not today's class. It is yesterday's class. Open file in VS Code Python 10, 11, 15, 9, 10, 11, 10 lambda function, 16, 11 JetBrains, 16, this is 16, 11. Okay. So it is okay. One more. No, it is not. You go for open file. One more. Where is that 16 loops? Practice. This is the okay. So this much of code I have written here. Everything I have briefed. These class variables are not being updated when these values passed and these values passed here. Okay. By even though by this, if I equal them, okay, instance variable is equal to local variables means your instance variable. These are normally class variables equal to your instance variables. So that moment also these records by these values, these class variables not being updated. Okay, but in Python, in Java, I was doing that by this, okay. X is equal to X. X is equal to what your class variable. This is equal to your instance variable. Sometimes you can find somewhere a local variable. So initial its value is equal to, I have not assigned any value. So its default value 0. That will be updated by whatever the value pass in constructor. The practically we have done it. So thanks for the class. Have a nice day. Okay. It is lengthy class. Something I want to clarify between the class instance and class variables. Okay. In the previous classes, wherever I told that these will be updated in Python by this, okay, this statement. But it is not being up, they are not being updated. Okay, these values only will be passed here. If you want to put these class variables, share with along with all the class objects, so that moment you call them as self dot. Okay, practically I have done. So thank you. Jai Hind. I'm going to terminate the class. I am going to terminate the class. Okay. Pause recording.